Welcome to Stoic Psyche Wisdom. In today's exploration, we delve into the intricate tapestry of human desire, the boundaries of love, and the unforeseen consequences of choices made in the shadows of longing. This is a true story, a confession, a cautionary tale, a reflection on the complexities of intimacy and the human psyche. Before we begin, a gentle reminder. Over 90% of our viewers find value in our narratives, yet haven't subscribed. If this story resonates with you, consider subscribing and tapping the like button. Let's aim for 500 likes on this piece. Your insights in the comments enrich our community and keep the conversation alive. Now, let us journey together into the depths of one woman's experience, a narrative that challenges perceptions and invites introspection. Transition. The screen fades to black, then slowly illuminates to a warm, nostalgic hue, evoking memories of the past. Narrator. I am Ellen, 68 years old, yet the summer when I was 38 feels like yesterday. Living in a picturesque suburb of Houston, our home was the epitome of perfection, a manicured lawn, white picket fences, and the illusion of a flawless life. But beneath the surface, a storm was brewing. Greg, my husband of nearly 15 years, was a software engineer, methodical, logical, always seeking solutions. I had been an elementary school teacher, but with our daughter off to college, I found myself navigating the silence of an empty nest. In that silence, whispers of unfulfilled desires began to echo. What started as playful pillow talk evolved into something more profound. Greg introduced fantasies, threesomes, voyeurism, the idea of me with another man while he watched. At first I dismissed them as mere fantasies, but his tone grew serious over time. He spoke of Marcus, a man he met at the gym, described him as confident, dominant, possessing a primal energy that Greg admitted he lacked. "He could give you what I never could," Greg whispered one night, his hand tracing patterns on my shoulder. I laughed it off, but curiosity took root. Then came the evening that changed everything. At a restaurant after dinner, Greg paid the bill and told me that Marcus was waiting upstairs. Everything had been arranged. Marcus had agreed to take me. The elevator ride felt eternal. My reflection in the mirrored walls showed a woman torn between fear and curiosity. Marcus opened the door, shirtless, muscular, tattoos adorning his chest. His eyes met mine with a commanding presence. "If you want me to stop, say the word," he whispered, his hand finding my hip. "Otherwise, you belong to me tonight." I should have walked away, remembered our vows, but I surrendered. His kiss was commanding, his touch unyielding. In moments I stood exposed, both physically and emotionally. Greg sat silently in the corner, watching as Marcus lifted me effortlessly. That night, I was claimed in ways I hadn't imagined. Greg watched as another man awakened something dormant within me. Afterward, Greg kissed my forehead and whispered, "Thank you," as if I had given him a gift. But I felt something sacred had been shattered. The morning brought pain, physical, emotional, spiritual. My body ached, and my conscience weighed heavily. Greg slept peacefully beside me, content, while my mind replayed every moment with Marcus. We pretended to be a regular couple afterward, but the truth lingered between us. A week later, Greg mentioned that Marcus wanted to see me again. My heart raced with anticipation. We met at an Airbnb the following Saturday. Pristine sheets, scented candles, and Greg in the corner with his wine glass. This time, Marcus was slower, more intimate. He took his time, kissing every inch of my skin, memorizing me. Greg's expression changed. Excitement mingled with something darker. But I was beyond caring. My body no longer belonged to my marriage. It belonged to the moment, to Marcus. Afterward, Marcus held me with unexpected tenderness. Greg approached, kissed my forehead and whispered, He makes you feel things I never could, doesn't he? My silence was answer enough. Marcus began texting me directly, harmless check-ins laced with desire. I started responding in the dead of night, hiding in bathrooms, heart racing. The addiction took hold. Then came the message, "Want to see me without Greg?" I stared at those words, then typed, "Yes." We met at a hotel on the outskirts of town. No pretense, just raw, dangerous hunger. He pushed me against the wall, kissed me like he owned me. There was no slow seduction, just pure animal need. I returned home to Greg watching television, asking about my shopping trip. I nodded, unable to meet his eyes. The shower that night was scalding hot, but I couldn't wash away the evidence of my betrayal. Greg started noticing the changes, my distraction, my distance, the way I checked my phone obsessively. "You're falling for him, aren't you?" he asked one night. "I don't know," I whispered. For the first time, Greg walked away without kissing my forehead. I began seeing Marcus more frequently. Stop telling Greg. The guilt transformed into exhilaration. Marcus awakened something in me, a wildness, a power, a sexuality I never knew existed. "I could steal you if I wanted to," Marcus said one night. I laughed, but part of me wanted to be stolen. Even when Greg touched me, it was Marcus I felt. Weeks passed, and my double life became routine. Greg pretended not to notice, perhaps hoping I would tire of the game. But I didn't. Then came the night that changed everything. Marcus at our door, invited by Greg. My hands trembled as I poured wine. Greg hadn't lost control. He had surrendered it completely. After dinner, Greg leaned back on our couch and said, "I want to watch again, but this time I want to see how far you'll go." His voice was detached, clinical. Marcus took my hand and led me upstairs. I looked back at Greg, who nodded with empty eyes. That night was savage. Marcus pushed boundaries I didn't know existed, called me names that should have offended me but instead inflamed me. Greg watched from the corner, sipping wine, his eyes growing colder. "Look at her," Marcus commanded Greg. "Look at what she really wants." Greg's face remained impassive, but something died behind his eyes. Still, I couldn't stop. The pleasure had become a drug. I remember catching my reflection in the mirror. Flushed cheeks, eyes wild, hair damp with sweat. I barely recognized the woman staring back. When it was over, Marcus had finished inside me, and I lay panting on the bed we'd chosen together at Macy's 15 years earlier. Greg approached, kissed my forehead one last time, but his eyes held only resentment. His lips were cold against my skin. The following weeks were a slow death. Greg barely spoke, barely touched me. Our passionate marriage reduced to silent meals and separate bedrooms. "I gave you what you wanted," he finally said one night. "But now I can't look at you without seeing him." I said nothing. "You're not mine anymore," he continued. "And maybe that's my fault. Maybe I broke us." The next morning, I awoke to an empty house and a letter. Greg was gone. No dramatics, no second chances. Just the quiet departure of a man who had gambled with his marriage and lost everything. Marcus stayed around for a while, but it wasn't the same. With Greg gone, the forbidden thrill vanished. I began to see Marcus for what he truly was, not a savior or a romantic hero, but a man who enjoyed power and taboo. When the game ended, so did his interest. Eventually, the calls stopped, the texts disappeared. And just like that, I was alone. No husband, no lover. Just an empty house filled with ghosts of my own making. Now, decades later, people sometimes ask if I regret it. On good days I say no, because for a brief, burning moment, I was truly alive. But in the honest darkness of sleepless nights, I'm haunted by Greg's voice. "I can't look at you without seeing him. He offered me freedom, thinking it would bind us closer. Instead, it set fire to everything we had built together. So here I am now. Not a wife, not a mistress, just an aging woman who flew too close to the sun and watched her entire world burn to ash. The loneliness of these later years is the price I pay for those moments of ecstasy. The empty chair across from me at dinner, the coldness of sheets never warmed by another body, the silence of holidays. These are the true consequences of desire unchecked. My daughter visits occasionally, bringing grandchildren who call me grandma, but look at me with curious eyes. They sense something isn't quite right about the story of why grandpa isn't here. Children always know when adults are hiding truths. My daughter never asked directly what happened between us, but sometimes when she thinks I'm not looking, I catch her studying my face, searching for clues to a mystery she never solved. I tried dating again in my 50s, even married briefly when I was 62 to a kind widower who wanted companionship more than passion, but I couldn't sustain it. The ghost of what I'd done, of who I'd been, always found its way between us. We divorced amicably after 18 months. He deserved someone who could give him her whole heart, not the shattered pieces I had left. Sometimes I wonder what became of Greg. Did he find happiness? Did he rebuild his life with someone who valued what he offered? I've drafted dozens of letters over the years, apologies, explanations, pleas for understanding, but never sent a single one. What right do I have to disrupt whatever peace he might have found? And Marcus, he vanished from my life as quickly as he entered it. I searched for him once, about 5 years after everything fell apart. Driven by some misguided notion that perhaps there had been something real between us, I discovered he had moved on to another married woman